of opportunity. One must take advantage of the windows of trainability or opportunity to maximise the genetic potential of individual athletes. Critical periods of development when training has optimal effect on the development of a specific capacity. So, expanding on this, conducting a training intervention outside a window of opportunity will result in fewer training gains and may actually be detrimental to future adaptations. So, take that kind of window of opportunity and apply that to movement skills. So as you can see from this image on screen here, we've got a birth to 11 years of age, and we've got growth and maturation that sits at the top. So you can see there's key stages within a child's development where, you know, from birth to sort of 1, 2, the child's body's not ready enough to learn these basic movement skills to become proficient in them. You could introduce things, but then they're not actually, you know, bodily, or their body awareness isn't at that stage where they're going to be able to develop from that. From 2 through to sort of 6 or 7, we're going to be looking at the child's body is ready to learn. We're starting to introduce those key movement skills. And then from sort of 6.5 through to 11 or 12, this is basically the optimum time to learn those fundamental movement skills. So we're going to underpin the basics, but actually where we're going to get into that mature stage of movement skill development is through that optimum period. And we often refer to this as a sponge period, where kids learn and develop and their maturation and body awareness is developed enough to actually become a mature performer of those skills. After sort of 10, 11, we've got a stage where, you know, there's time for remedial work, where maybe if things haven't been developed, we can look back and try and improve those skills. So as you can see, you know, working with children and youth and you're working with young performers is a crucial area of development, and ensuring, you know, in that kind of long-term athlete development model, and, you know, getting as many people active for life, but also getting that more performers and more elite performers. These basic movement skills are crucial. Continuing on from that basic diagram, these graphs basically depict information which has been found from the Canadian Sport for Life, which looks at kind of movement skill milestones from a range of ages. So the first is obviously looking at from birth to 15 months, and the types of things that the child should be developing during that period. Obviously, you know, the first initial picture we looked at gave a clear sort of age group pattern from, you know, 0 to 11 or 12, whereas what this kind of bit of research and information gives is a little bit more information around the difference between boys and girls, the different points where they successfully, or on average most people achieve that performance, and obviously the last and start point of actually kids achieving that performance of particular skills. You know, and the basic start point is around that birth to 15 months, so those key reflex movements which we've discussed through that period of motor development. Okay, so moving on from that infancy, you know, early birth to 1 year of age, we're now going to look from 1 to 4 years. So this is where the key milestones, where kids learn how to walk up steps and walk, kick a ball forward, throw a ball, jump. Key movements, maybe not at that, you know, elementary or mature stage, but are starting to experience those movements. And you can see again differences between boys and girls, and also those milestone points of where the average age of that child actually reaching performance of that skill. Okay, so this is one I'm going to focus on in a little bit more detail, because this is where we're going to start actually moving to where we actually can impact and have a impact on performance and engagement. So between 3 and 6, you've got balance on one foot for 5 seconds, balance on one foot for 10 seconds, hop on one foot, catch a bounce ball, and heel to toe walk. So let's concentrate on the first one to begin with. So balance on one foot. So kids basically, the age at which 25% of children can perform the skill is around 3. And the other end, the other yellow dot, is at the age where 90% can perform the skill. And as you can see, you know, the red is where the average age. So the average age for kids 3 to 6 is around sort of just before 3.5, where they can be average age to perform that balance for 5 seconds. Comparably, we look at the balance for 10 seconds, and there is a slight difference. Boys get it before girls. Hopping on one foot, you know, again in contrast, this average points are very similar, but the kind of 90% of performers the girls get first. Catching, boys perform slightly better than girls. Obviously, you know, every child is different. So yes, there's key movement skills that we're trying to develop. Yes, there's key milestones. But what you'll see is that there's key skills that kids will get before others. And it's having an appreciation that, you know, you may set standards for your child to kind of achieve, or the coaches or the kids that you're working with to achieve certain things. But there's always going to be peaks and troughs and plateaus in their performance depending on the skills, which links to many other factors such as, you know, previous experience, the environment and so forth. So based on those milestones, you're now going to see a series of little clips which looks at children performing key skills, and you will see, you know, the key differences between different activities. There's one in particular where there's a little girl who is particularly good at skipping, and she demonstrates a clear competency above the rest of the group compared to when you actually see her doing a skill of kicking a ball. She clearly can't do that movement. So again, demonstrating those different levels of achievement. As you can see from her skipping through the cones, she clearly has good rhythm and good movement and technique for this skill, driving her arms back and forth and skipping in time with very coordinated movement. Now you will see the whole group completing this movement. From this short section of video, you will clearly see there's a clear difference between the ability levels of the group, with some unable to complete the movement at all and not been using the effective skipping technique, and then also some that maybe are a little bit better and have some coordination to obviously compared to the first one where the child had excellent skipping technique. The second part of this video demonstrates the children now playing in a practice where they're actually learning to kick the ball. Now we focus on Aubrey again. Compared to her actual skipping technique, she clearly has inefficient or not good technique for this kicking the ball. So I'd actually like to focus on her within this video and see the differences. So just because one child is good at one skill doesn't mean they're going to be good at all skills. So it's about ensuring that we're developing movement skills across all areas of fundamental and motor skills. Hopefully that has given you a little bit of an insight into the skill level of what we're talking about with this age group. You can see there's very clear differences across the group in all techniques. Within this second video, we're now going to observe another child who clearly has differences in their skill level for two different techniques. We're first going to observe him jumping, and then we're going to observe him kicking the ball. The child you're actually looking out for, he's a boy. He's got dark hair, a dark green top on, and orange trainers and combat coloured trousers. So I want you to focus on this child within this kicking and jumping techniques. So obviously you've observed him jumping, clearly not being able to jump over the hurdles. You will now see him in this kicking drill. He is to the far right of the screen during this practice. So as you can see from the second part of this video, his kicking technique is much better. He can clearly aim at a target and propel the ball forward and is able to step into the movement. So again, this clearly demonstrates the differences in skill level, which often can be to previous experience, but obviously what we're aiming to do within fundamental movement skills is ensuring all children develop competencies in all skills.